Hey, Roger Courville here with a case study, 7 things to learn from a mediocre webcast, which I just attended an hour ago, and I'm just like, I gotta share this. All right, so let's get rolling. Simple agenda. I'm gonna share 2 things that they did right, 5 things that they did less right, and make teaching moments out of this, not because we want to throw anybody under the bus. Please hear me correctly. The goal isn't to throw anybody under the bus, just to make it a learning experience. However, I gotta tell you, warning, sarcasm ahead. Number 1, use slides. In this case, this was a panel discussion for the latecomers. Here's what I mean. Here, I just took a series of screenshots, and this was an analyst webcast. And to be fair, analysts aren't usually professional presenters. But here was this use of the slides over here on the right, with all of the crew and all of the webcam stuff. And here's the thing. During that time of the webcast, when they would switch to whoever was speaking, they would use slides to either re-identify who it was that was speaking or share whatever the question or the topic was that they were talking about. Very fair. Done right. Panel discussion doesn't have the same types of slides as one would have in, say, a training event or something like that. Well done. Number 2, pay attention to your font size unless you don't give a rip. Now, back to the not so swift kind of thing. All right? Look at this font size. Right? Now, users, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, users can make that slide a full screen kind of a thing, but most of the time, that's not what they did, right? Most of the time, if you went something like this, that makes it a whole bunch more legible. But when you do something like this, bear in mind, if you want people to watch the video, presumably that's why you're using video, pay attention to your font size when it's not the same size as when you're creating it. Number 3, get rid of the lame-o template, all right? And number 2, I'm going to demonstrate both of these at the same time. Design for the whole experience, not just for the slides. Here's what to do, right? So here's an example of a template. Unfortunately, how much real estate is taken up here when you use a template, right? Oh, I got stuff at the top and the bottom. I mean, the functional real estate is very little, which kind of makes text, a little bit more pretty. Now, here's what I mean by designing the whole experience. Take this same slide right here, and now when I drop everybody's pictures on there, frankly, it looks like crap. It looks like crap. This is not a design. This is a lame-o response. And it doesn't have to be. That's my point. This could have been an entirely white slide because the branding, notice the colors of the whole player here. The colors are right. They got a logo at the top. The branding is intact. So if you're thinking about the whole experience, and you want to avoid slides that look like the south end of a northbound horse, skip the template and think about the whole experience. I don't need your damn logo on every slide for me to understand who you are and what the branding experience is. Make eye contact with the camera, not the screen. Okay? So here's dude, I'm, again, not throwing anybody under the bus, but literally every time it was his turn to talk, he is watching who? Right? And we do this because we either use the slides as a teleprompter, or in this case, he's speaking to his fellow panelists. But where is he looking? And what are you looking at, right? In fact, to be fair, the picture of Michael on the right is making eye contact with the camera. That's what I'm talking about. A whole bunch more engaging. Doesn't mean you have to do it 100%, but it's not natural. So you've got to figure out how to do something a little bit different. Now here's a guy who sits a little bit farther back, but John nailed it, right? He kind of looks, and frankly, he's probably not even looking exactly at the camera, but it's a lot less obvious, and it's a lot more engaging when we're talking to somebody who's looking at us, okay? One final thought, you gotta say, this dude right here, again, not throwing anybody under the bus, but he spent a good chunk of the time looking over there. I don't know what was over there. Maybe she was prettier than everybody else here was on the panel. But that is not only not engaging, it's frankly makes you wonder if he actually gives a rip that he's sitting here. Number whatever it is, pay as much attention to lighting as you do your damn wardrobe, right? You don't go on stage without going, oh, is my shirt pressed? Does my jacket look okay? Now, you may or may not decide that this is a must-have or a nice-to-have, but, the face because we're sitting next to the window, gets entirely washed out. Or in this case, and this one isn't even too bad, but there were times when, because of the extreme lighting coming in from his right, our left, his eye sockets were almost dark because his face turned just a little bit away, and you know, that's just not an engaging experience, okay? All right, final thought. This is the final catching someone doing something right. Give yourself a little grace. In fact, here's one of the challenges. We're 40 minutes in. We get this message saying, sorry, the moderator has left the conference. Now, by the way, bonus tip here for you. Don't frickin' use Wi-Fi when you use web conferencing, especially if you're using video. Now, I don't know if that was true here or not, but, you know, it was like, okay, it's gone, everybody's gone, and then I get this message saying it's come back, you can refresh your browser, but then there was this kind of series of things like, oh, somebody's messing around with that, oh, you've been muted by the moderator, press 5 to unmute your video, right? Here's what I want you to go read. In August of 2009, Wired kind of broke open this whole idea that quality is the only driver that is why people do something, right? The good enough revolution. Cheap and simple is fine. You know me, I'm a big fan of saying don't use frickin' Skype, okay? Use a quality product. But the reality is technology, and if you're not willing to pay for a perfect product, which most of us aren't, don't expect perfect results. Give yourself a little grace. You know what? They came back on. They recovered. It was okay. It's okay. All right? Final review. Keep your slides a-changing. Even in this case, a panel discussion. They did it right? Kept the question up there or the picture of the presenter just in case you came in late. I know who's speaking now because I missed the intro. Use a font size that works for the viewers, not what you're looking at when you're looking on a full size monitor when you're creating the darn thing. Can the PowerPoint template. That means like crap can the PowerPoint template. I'm not a big fan of that. Think about designing the whole experience. Make eye contact with the camera when you want to engage people. Pay a little bit of attention to your lighting and give yourself a little grace. You know what? It's not going to ever be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. This isn't a fully produced something coming out of Hollywood. It's a webcast. It's a meeting. It's a panel discussion. It's okay. And I want to make sure that you leave today going, I can do one thing a little better tomorrow than I did today. Thanks. Roger Courville at thevirtualpresenter.com. Give me a shout if you ever have any questions. Take care.